Good evening and welcome to the 32nd Annual eQuality Scholarship Collaborative Awards celebration. My name is Alexander von Bonterre and I'm the immediate past president of Pride Network, the LGBT plus and ally employee group at Pacific Gas and Electric Company, and I'll be your MC this evening. Before we begin our celebration, let us pause to acknowledge those we've lost to COVID-19. More than 500,000 in the US and over 3 million around the world. While things are looking up with vaccinations, the past year of distancing and lockdowns has taken its toll on all of us, and many students have lost a full year of learning, socializing, and just plain fun. But tonight, we get to celebrate the 2021 eQuality Scholars. Despite so many campuses being closed, these students have continued to work to make their schools and communities better and safer, particularly for the LGBT plus community. 11 of this year's scholars are graduating high school seniors from Northern and Central California. 2 are community college transfer students, and 5 are or will be medical students. This year, we have 18 scholarship recipients. Since many of you may not be familiar with eQuality scholarships, here's a short video as an introduction.
Since 1989, eQuality Scholarship Collaborative has awarded over $1.6 million in scholarships to recognize almost 400 California students for their service to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. eQuality is a volunteer-led effort of a group of individuals, corporate employee resource groups, and LGBT+ community nonprofit organizations based in Northern California.
How involved are they in their, communities at school, and what are they doing to, stand up against inequalities for LGBTQA youth, right? Whether it's, small education, it's standing up to bullying. I mean, those are certain things that I definitely look for in a candidate.
I am the president of the Queer Student Alliance at Mission High School, my high school, and we do workshops with students. We have different activities. We actually got a gender neutral bathroom last year. We got 3. And we also have had conversations about gender pronouns and how we should be more inclusive about what we're teaching.
It shouldn't matter about what your sexual orientation is. It's what you do. And so I applied, and I'm so grateful because the eQuality committee, they were able to see all my activism. And I think that it's important to have allies because the battle for equality, it will be really hard if it's just LGBT community fighting for it.
It's really amazing to see the scholars at the dinners. Every year their stories get better. Their accomplishments when I read their applications get more amazing. They're definitely doing a lot more than I did back in 2010. So every year the scholars make more and more impact.
The Equality Scholarship wasn't just about the money. It was also saying that I am worthy of receiving higher education as a young queer trans woman, and especially coming from a small community where only a few of my classmates were able to access college at all. Being able to not only get into college, but also have access through equality support and know that I had a group behind me was really inspiring.
There were people who tried to make me feel like what I was doing for the LGBT community wasn't valuable, and who kind of made me feel like my voice shouldn't be heard. And receiving the scholarship in my senior year of high school really reinforced to me that what I was doing was valuable and that I should continue doing it. So it made a huge impact on me and gave me the confidence and paved my path to continue my activism in college and after I graduated college as well.
At school, when I tell people I'm a recipient of the Equality Scholarship, they listen, and I hope that inspires them to continue down the path of queer activism because it is essential and needed.
Beyond simply helping me, however, it will hopefully set a precedent of LGBTQ youths in my community, striving for more than a life of drug addiction or abject poverty, demonstrating that a good education is possible regardless of personal financial circumstances and the still all too real prejudices persisting against us.
Seeing a community of other young queer and trans scholars was really nice. Very often, even in the Bay Area, we as young LGBTQ, etc. people can be isolated from our community. And so being around other like-minded people was really inspiring.
I know we spoke earlier about this is a community that gets told no a lot. And so I can't possibly articulate how much it means to me to be in this type of room where it's not no, it's yes. We're celebrating, we are having joy, we're having pride, especially in all of us and each other, and we're able to celebrate our accomplishments and be who we are and be able to celebrate our identities and ourselves. And so that means the absolute world to me.
Back in 1989, just one $250 scholarship was awarded. This year, eQuality is awarding $108,000, bringing the total awarded since 1989 to more than 400 scholarships worth over $1.7 million. As mentioned in the video, this scholarship is a collaborative effort. This year, the organizational members of eQuality are Genentech's G-Pride, GSA Network, P-Flag San Jose Peninsula Chapter, and PG&E's Pride Network Employee Resource Group. eQuality's fiscal sponsor, Horizons Foundation, along with many individual volunteers, make these scholarships possible. Now, on to the 2021 eQuality Scholars. As a mostly virtual organization, eQuality has been fortunate to have experienced little impact to the scholarship program, but we mourn the loss to COVID of one of our co-founders and former chair of the scholarship committee, Dan Barber. His friends and family have joined together to sponsor a scholarship in his memory. To present the Dan Barber Memorial Scholar, we have Dan's widower, Keith Rasmussen.
Thank you, Alexander. Dan Barber and I met in San Francisco in 1981, and we were together for nearly 40 years until he passed away last year from COVID-19. Dan worked at PG&E, where in 1986 he co-founded its LGBT+ employee group, now known as Pride Network, one of the first such groups in the world. He served multiple terms as its president, leading it to recognition by several national LGBT+ organizations. After retirement, Dan continued to serve his community as president of our neighborhood organization and represented our neighborhood to the city of Palm Springs. He was a role model and inspired many people with whom he worked. Dan supported the eQuality Scholarship Collaborative from its very beginning, and the organization's ideals reflect Dan's commitment to the LGBT+ community. The donations made in Dan's memory for this scholarship represent the respect and affection of many people and is a lasting legacy of a life well lived. I'm proud to present the Dan Barber Memorial Scholar Matthew Abrams, who has a BA in psychology from Harvard and just finished his third year at the University of Central Florida's College of Medicine. At Harvard, Matthew was involved in the LGBT+ student organizations and worked his senior year as an intern in the Office of BGLTQ Student Life, helping students feel a true sense of community. In medical school, he has served as president of the LGBT+ student group, is leading Operation Pride to provide HIV services to the LGBT+ community, and is working with the school to organize the first transgender standardized patient encounter to improve education for interacting with patients. As stated by the Associate Dean for Students at the UCF Medical School, Matt has committed himself to learn as much as he can about addictions, with the goal of one day becoming an addiction psychiatrist and serving underserved communities. His drive to take his own negative experiences and turn them into an outlet for making positive, lasting change is not only refreshing, but has me convinced that he will make a major impact on the medical field, in the lives of patients, and in the communities he serves. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you, Keith, and this year's eQuality Scholarship Committee. Thank you so much for selecting me as one of this year's scholarship winners. I'm incredibly honored and excited to be joining this thriving community of LGBTQ advocates. Seriously, what amazing news during such trying times. I saw the email and immediately started jumping with joy. Like many here at today's celebration, I grew up in a low socioeconomic neighborhood in Southern California, at times feeling unsafe and discriminated by conservative family members and community members alike because of my sexual orientation. It was hard for me at first to find my voice, so being celebrated today for my service to marginalized LGBTQ communities means the world to me. Beyond financial help, this scholarship has signaled to me that I am worthy of support, of being celebrated, of graduate medical education. As a young, queer person, there have been many moments that have made me feel otherwise, so I thank you for reminding me to persevere and to be resilient. I plan to continue fighting for a world where no one has to endure bullying and discrimination or fear negative consequences for being their authentic selves. I want to thank my twin sister, Melissa, my mom, who I know would be beaming with joy if she were alive today, and my queer chosen family for supporting me along my academic, service, and advocacy journeys. As past president of the LGBTQI medical students and allies groups at my school, I helped raise awareness about diversity and inclusion and organized the 3rd annual Practicing with Pride barbecue, connecting students with nonprofits from the broader Orlando community, healthcare providers, and community members. I also helped start an initiative to help teach medical students how to interact with transgender patients. After medical school, I hope to specialize in psychiatry at a residency program in California and pay forward the optimism and compassion that many have shown me. I'm dedicated to promoting the mental health of LGBTQ people, especially those from minoritized backgrounds. Throughout my career, I will continue to use science and evidence-based medicine to break down the language, cultural, socioeconomic, and structural barriers that LGBTQ communities, racial minorities, and immigrant patients face when accessing culturally informed care. As a scholarship recipient, I hope to inspire others to advocate for the LGBTQ community. Lastly, I want to take a moment to denounce police brutality, to affirm that Black trans lives matter, to promise to amplify the voices of minoritized folks in our community, and to commit myself to being actively anti-racist in all of my future roles as a healthcare provider. Thank you again for this opportunity.
The ideals of the Equality Scholarship Collaborative are as important to me as they were to my late husband, Dan Barber. I joined the collaborative in the late 1990s when I was chair of Kaiser Permanente's LGBT+ employee group, and as Kaiser began sponsoring equality scholarships. To support the important mission of the collaborative, I am now sponsoring a scholarship in both Dan's and my names. I'm pleased to introduce the first Rasmussen Barber Scholar, Kishan Patel, who earned a BS in biology from UCLA and is finishing his 3rd year at the UC Riverside School of Medicine. At UC Riverside, Kishan led efforts to expand the LGBT+ health training from 5 to over 15 hours. He also founded Lambda Clinics to provide free individual and family counseling for the LGBT+ community in the Coachella Valley. Since his first year, Kishan has served on the planning committee for the Southern California LGBTQIA+ Health Conference, the largest student-led LGBT+ health conference in the country. Kishan's med school mentor and advisor states, Kishan uses his privilege and role as an out gay man in medical school to uplift those still struggling with their sexuality and those who have no support. Kishan has shown that caring and contributing to the betterment of the lives of everyone around him is an innate part of his personal fabric. I do not doubt Kishan will continue to fight for equity and removal of injustices in the healthcare system. Congratulations, Kishan.
Thank you, Keith, for the introduction. I'm thankful to be honored today to be joining this phenomenally inspiring and straight up just awesome cohort of equality scholars. I want to first start off by thanking the Equality Scholarship for this opportunity, as well as my family and my partner, who have always inspired me to be the best version of myself. Something that's always motivated me to commit serving our LGBTQ+ community has been not seeing visible role models that look like me in my community. As many of us, I grew up in a traditional first-generation immigrant household, and I always had the notion that because I was gay, I didn't deserve to be happy. I felt that I couldn't have a loving family and be a cool soccer dad and bring orange wedges to soccer practice because I envisioned my life with another man. This translated to a lot of internalized repression, which seeped into professional repression as well. At some point, I began abandoning my dreams of becoming a physician because I thought patients, fellow doctors, and the community wouldn't be okay with who I am. But seeing a community of out, proud, and driven leaders, such as the ones we see here today, is what motivated me to achieve all that I can. And I hope that sharing my story and hearing our collective experiences will inspire the next generation of LGBTQ+ leaders. As a future practicing emergency medicine physician, I'm motivated to continue using my visibility as an LGBTQ+ advocate to push for the healthcare our community needs and deserves. So much of our community has ingrained mistrust resulting from years of negative experiences within the healthcare system. I'm committed to tackling these barriers by creating medical curriculum to train our frontline healthcare providers in the ED to provide culturally sensitive care and creating safe spaces for our community's most underserved populations to access care. This scholarship is invaluable in my journey to becoming that physician that tackles these healthcare issues and will allow me to continue focusing on my goals of bridging these healthcare disparities. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith, and congratulations, Matt and Keyshawn. To present our next scholar, we have Kevin Hardy.
Thank you, Alexander. The James P. Ricciardelli Memorial Scholarship goes to a graduating high school senior pursuing a degree in the performing arts. It has been previously awarded 3 times since 2010 in memory of my partner, Jamie Ricciardelli, who was a co-founder of the Philadelphia AIDS ARC Coalition and the production manager at the Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts at the University of Pennsylvania. This year would have marked our 50th anniversary, so it seems fitting to award this scholarship a 4th and final time. The original idea for the scholarship came from my 4 really good Bay Area friends who have long been supporters of the eQuality Scholarship Initiative, Rich Meese and Peter Rudy, and Matt McCabe and Charlie Wilson. And I'm grateful to them for continuing to remember Jamie over all these many years. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2021 James P. Ricciardelli Memorial Scholar, Ashlyn Barnes, who is graduating from San Benito High, where she has been president of its Gender and Sexualities Alliance Club since her sophomore year. Ashlyn made presentations to staff and classes on bullying and creating a safe environment, and advocated for school policies that promoted fairness for LGBT plus students, helped develop a lesson for LGBT plus issues, and has been interviewed in local online media. She's participated in New Voices, a Santa Cruz theater organization that supports LGBT plus youth and plans to major in theater arts at Cal State, Los Angeles. According to one of her teachers, Ashlyn is an amazing leader and a role model for all students at our school. She is a perfect balance of a fun-loving, spirited student and an empathetic, self-aware leader. Congratulations, Ashlyn.
I am beyond honored to be a recipient of the 2021 James Ricciardelli Memorial Equality Scholarship. I would first off like to thank my family for always supporting me, because I know that unfortunately many of my fellow LGBTQ+ community members do not have the support network that I do. I would also like to thank my friends for loving me unconditionally and never looking at me differently for who I am. Finally, I would like to thank my GSA kids for letting me provide them with a safe and loving space for the past 3 years. I started questioning my sexuality at 12 years old, and I was downright terrified. I didn't see how my dreams and ambitions could survive if I was different. It took me another 2 years to love my sexuality and declare my identity. When I came out at 14, I knew that I wanted to make a difference. I knew that I wanted to help youth members gain confidence and acceptance for themselves. I was lucky enough to be asked to be the president of my school's GSA club at 15, and I think that experience has really been a gateway to me wanting to always keep activism in my life. Being able to inspire and protect those younger than me is one of the most important things in my life. My ultimate goal is to make a better world for LGBTQ+ youth. I intend to do this through performance and activism. Theater has always been arguably the biggest part of my life, and it will forever be my truest love. But with that being said, in my life now, I know I want the media to better reflect the world around us. I hope that through my passion for the performing arts and my continued activist efforts, I'll be able to create, advocate for, and portray roles that showcase all sexualities and gender identities. Again, I want to reiterate how grateful I am for being awarded this scholarship. It really means the world to me, and I know it will help me achieve my future goals. To the scholarship committee and my fellow recipients, thank you for using your passions and leadership to change the world for our beautiful community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and congratulations, Ashlyn. Like Ashlyn, most of our high school graduate scholars are leaders of their school's Gender and Sexualities Alliance, or similar clubs. GSAs are similar to other high school clubs, but unite LGBT plus students and their allies to make schools safer and more accepting for LGBT students. The next scholarship is sponsored by the chair of the Equality Scholarship Committee, Eric Hsu, and his husband, Jim Chambers. This year's Hsu Chambers Scholarship goes to Sam Martinez, who is graduating from the College of Alameda. They'll be going to San Francisco State to study sociology. Sam feels that their purpose is to make sure their community is safe. To that end, they have been a leader in GSA Network, organizing its Youth Empowerment Summit and teaching students. Sam has also been a member of the National Trans Youth Council, an organizing and leadership program of the GSA Network and Transgender Law Center. They've also worked on many projects at San Francisco's Lavender Youth Recreational and Information Center, or LYRIC, including organizing a youth dance, facilitating Q groups in middle schools, and developing middle school curriculum. More recently, Sam has been working at Generation Rising, Bay Rising on electoral organizing, and at Bay Peace teaching Oakland high school students about politics and intersectional movements. According to Sam's manager at LYRIC, the middle school Q group participants look up to Sam because they are living proof that they can live authentically and thrive as a QTPOC person. Sam takes every opportunity to educate the masses about the injustice of the LGBTQ+, specifically the transgender community. Congratulations, Sam.
I'm so thankful to receive the Hsu Chambers Equality Scholarship. As a queer person, I never thought I would make it to this part of my life. Never thought I would make it through middle school, high school, or community college to now transferring. I never thought I would make it to this point, meaning I did this. So who am I thinking? I'm thinking myself, because we often forget that we are the ones who got ourselves here, that we are the ones who advocated for ourselves, for our needs, for our wants, for everything we have ever gotten. Although I also thank the people who have helped me to believe in myself to where I am now. So the person I'd like to thank is Rexy, or the one and only Rexy, who's a drag performer, activist, who has always been someone I've looked up to. Being at GSA Network and seeing them and just seeing them believe in me was always a great feeling. So yeah, thank you, Rexy. And I'd also like to thank Felicia, who wrote my letter of recommendation and who believed in me to also reapply again for equality, because without them, I probably wouldn't have, and I wouldn't be here saying that I am receiving this scholarship. And I also would like to thank my chosen family, who has always shown me unconditional love. And those are people who I've met through school, at orgs I've worked with, which are LYRIC, GSA Network, Bay Peace, Bay Rising, Generation Rising. And the truth is that I've been with a lot of orgs, and I've done a lot of organizing since my freshman year of high school. But I don't think I ever saw this as a full career path until right now. Because like I said, I never thought I would make it to this point in my life. I thought I would end up like another statistic, which, yes, sounds sad, but I think that is the reality for many queer, trans, brown people like me who thought their life was just another statistic. So for me to be recognized and receive the scholarship, it means the world to me, because the truth is I applied for equality 2 years ago and did not receive the news that I wanted in regards to receiving a scholarship. And the truth is I'm glad I didn't then, because I was someone who didn't know what I was doing. And only a few weeks before I submitted my application is when I decided I even wanted to go to college. I was also someone who didn't have straight A's through high school or have the best grades. So what I can tell you and my younger self is that it's okay to not know, and it's okay not to have straight A's and go straight into a 4-year college and get out. Because going through community college has been the best decision I have ever made. To know that I'm continuing my education and doing it because I want to and because I'm inspired by my community is a greater feeling than if I were to say I went to a 4-year college and I'm in and I'm out. Because at the end of the day, no one cares where you got your degree. No one cares where you graduated from. All they care is that you got yourself to where you are, and because you advocated for yourself. And that's why you should be proud of you, like I am proud of myself. So when I go to SF State, I will get my degree in sociology and continue to serve my community that has always been there for me, because I needed them and I think they need me too. So thank you again, Equality, for recognizing my success that I have often failed to see in myself sometimes. So thank you so much.
The San Jose Peninsula chapter of PFLAG has a 29-year tradition, almost as long as Equality's, of awarding scholarships to graduating high school students. 2 years ago, PFLAG joined eQuality Scholarship Collaborative. To present the first two PFLAG scholars, we have the chapter president, Rosemary Malvey.
Thank you, Alexander. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who may not be familiar with PFLAG, a little introduction. PFLAG was founded in 1973 in New York City by the mother of a gay man and is the first and largest organization for LGBTQ plus people, their parents, families, and allies. Originally known as Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, it became simply PFLAG in 2014. PFLAG is a grassroots organization with more than 400 chapters across the country and replicated programs across the globe. The San Jose Peninsula PFLAG chapter has awarded over $280,000 in scholarship money since 1993. Here's a short PFLAG video.
I initially got involved in PFLAG because my son was withdrawn, depressed, and suicidal, and I didn't know where to turn.
We had to reconcile having our new normal, which was our gay son, with what anti-gay messages were coming out of the Southern Baptist Convention at that time.
My child was the first one to transition in our public schools, and she was pretty badly bullied. So having some friends in the PFLAG community really meant the world to my family.
PFLAG is on a journey of not only educating itself, but educating others so that we can be in a place where we can gain equality for the entire LGBT community.
As an educational resource, PFLAG is the only thing that's out there for families like mine.
I want to bring the message to communities of color and Black and brown communities, and that PFLAG is an organization that can support the community.
We all seek to belong to something that is greater than ourselves. And PFLAG has given me that opportunity.
As a proud PFLAG dad, to be an advocate for my son, who I love dearly, is something that's very special and important to me.
PFLAG made it possible for my family to stay together.
So no matter what other people say, no matter what you may hear from those other people and other places that say something different, don't even give them a second thought, because we love you just as you are.
Baby, you my child, I love you, and you are walking in those shoes. I'm just here to love and support you.
PFLAG is able to award the first of its high school graduate scholarships, thanks in part to funding provided by the John and Marcia Goldman Foundation. The scholarship award goes to Maddie Ting, who is graduating from Carlmont High School in Belmont. Along with Peter P., Maddie will also be attending UC Berkeley to study business. In her sophomore year at Carlmont, Maddie co-founded Queer Time Podcast, her school's first podcast series, sharing teen stories on sexuality and gender identity. Under her leadership, a second season Queer Time episode won first place in the Teen Opinion category of the 2020 Youth Journalism International Contest. This year, Maddie co-founded Aerospace Podcast, focusing on asexual and aromantic experiences. According to her journalism advisor, when we first started working together, Maddie was clearly passionate about topics, but quiet. By producing the podcasts, Maddie matured and became a great leader and advocate. On behalf of PFLAG, and with thanks to the John and Marcia Goldman Foundation, I'm happy to award a $6,000 scholarship to Maddie Ting. Congratulations, Maddie.
Thank you so much, Ms. Malvey.
I'm so honored to be the one receiving the PFLAG/John and Marcia Goldman Foundation Scholarship. Standing here giving this speech is, to put it in one word, surreal. If you had told freshman me that in just 4 years, I'd be standing here talking about my time with the LGBTQ plus community, I'd laugh in the I'm gonna pretend like I know what you're talking about way, because truth be told, I came into high school not even knowing what LGBTQ plus meant. But 4 years later, I'm standing in front of you happy to announce that I do, in fact, know what it's like to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Not because I'm lesbian, gay, bi, or trans, but because I'm asexual. I know what it's like to be lost in an unfamiliar world, to feel afraid and inadequate, to be assumed straight because I don't, quote, look gay enough. But I also know now what it's like to find my voice and to use it in the only way I can, to talk. A lot. Podcasting gave me an avenue to share other stories with those that are struggling to piece together their identity just like me. Over the past few years, I've made so many friends in the LGBTQ plus community that I can't thank enough for all the support they've given me. In particular, my career time and aerospace podcast teams, because you guys put up with my intense spikes in cortisol and still somehow came out as sane human beings. My family, since even though they may have doubted me in the beginning, they still love me no matter what. And obviously, a thank you speech from yours truly wouldn't be complete without honoring my amazing journalism advisor, who believed in my weird and slightly off-kilter ideas when I didn't even fully believe in them yet. So, standing here giving this speech is surreal, but I know that all of the work I've done, along with this scholarship, is going towards something good, and I don't need a speech to believe that, because I'm asexual, and we are a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary, and congratulations, Maddie. Here to present the next PFLAG scholarship is Kitty Trejo.
Thank you, Alexander. The fourth 2021 PFLAG scholarship goes to Tristan McMichael, who will be graduating from Quincy Junior Senior High and going to University of the Pacific to study music education. Tristan was a founding member of the school's GSA club in 8th grade and has helped create a safe space for LGBTQ students. He also helped the Plumas County's first Pride event in 2019, despite receiving online death threats. According to one of the founders of the Plumas County Gay Straight Alliance, Tristan has, quote, kept the high school group going through positive and effective leadership. We are hopeful that attitudes toward LGBTQ people are slowly changing in Plumas County due to the involvement of people like Tristan, end quote. Congratulations, Tristan.
Thank you, Ms. Trejo. Growing up in a rural, conservative mill town in Northern California has had its peaks and valleys, pun intended. In junior high, my junior-senior high school was not a safe space for the LGBTQIA+ community, and students who were perceived to be a member of this community faced constant scrutiny. Becoming a founding member of my school's Gay Straight Alliance has given me the opportunity to create a safe space for LGBT students that has, in turn, created a more accepting student body. Also in our GSA, I have been able to work on self-love and acceptance while creating LGBTQIA+ visibility in our small school. Additionally, I helped organize the first and second Prides to ever take place in Plumas County, creating more visibility across the entire community, which has helped show closeted individuals that there are safe spaces in their community. I would like to thank my GSA advisor, Erica Purdue, who has given me so much love and support throughout my high school career, the members of the Plumas County Gay Straight Alliance, the members of the Quincy High School Gay Straight Alliance, and Kendra Frederickson for writing a wonderful letter of recommendation for me. Thank you for supporting me and every other recipient at this event. Thank you for helping me achieve my educational goals as I embark on my journey to become a music educator. I can't wait to continue to be an advocate for this community.
Thanks, Kitty, and congratulations, Tristan. PFLAG's last scholarship will be presented by the chapter's vice president, Karen Piazzi.
Thank you, Alexander. The last 2021 PFLAG scholarship goes to Lane Schlesinger, who was graduating from Burlingame High, and we've been majoring in psychology and art therapy at the George Washington University in DC. Lane has been an officer of her school's GSA and volunteered as a member of her synagogue's Inclusivity Committee. As a winner of a National Teen Feminist Fellowship, she created resources for school staff on gender-neutral language, as well as suggested changes to the curricula that allow for better LGBT+ representation. According to her fellowship mentor, Lane is a standout member of the fellowship. They are gifted in organizing and community building. Lane is able to manage challenges with grace and invite people in a loving way to be on their side. Congratulations, Lane.
Thank you, Ms. Piazzi. As I reflect on the honor that comes with receiving a PFLAG John and Marsha Foundation Scholarship, I can't help but wonder what my younger self would think. After all, when I began my high school career, LGBTQ activism was not something I was involved in. I had no intention of going to a GSA meeting, nor was I out to my friends and family. In fact, I don't think I was truly out to myself. The plan was to make it through high school without causing a scene and figure it all out later. However, in the fall of my junior year, that began to change. It was a mid-September morning, about a month after I had come out to my parents and started dating a girl. I arrived to school at the sight of plastic tarps covering the campus walls. Soon, I heard the loudspeaker system crackle to life and learned that the prior evening, my school was vandalized with homophobic, anti-Semitic, and racist graffiti. The dread, terror, and anger I felt as a primary target of this event became an inflection point for me. I channeled it into writing, public speaking, and activism. And almost 2 years later, I'm here. I'm being honored for work I never dreamed I would do, and for speaking out in a way that only a short time ago seemed terrifying and impossible. It is a testament to the ways I have learned to take pride in myself, the ways I have learned to speak truth to power and fight for my community. It is proof of my growth as an activist, a speaker, a writer, and a human being. And as I leave the Bay for now and set my sights on the nation's capital, being given this scholarship reminds me that whenever I advocate for and uplift the queer community, I am further molded into a person I never imagined I could be. Thank you.
Hi, we are the board of PFLAG San Jose Peninsula. Congratulations, PFLAG scholarship winners. Yay, yippee, yay. We are so proud of you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congrats.
We are very
Awesome
proud
work.
of you.
Good work.
Awesome.
Awesome.
The next group of scholarships are sponsored by the PG&E Pride Network Employee Resource Group, the organization that founded eQuality. To present their 2021 scholars, we have the group's executive sponsors, Jamie Martin and Andy Williams.
Thanks, Alexander. I'm honored to present the 2021 PG&E George Kronenberger Memorial Scholarship. George was a co-founder of what is now PG&E's Pride Network, the employee group for LGBT+ employees and allies. Caring deeply about ending discrimination and supporting education, George suggested the awarding of scholarships to graduating high school students who were working to make a difference for the LGBT+ community. To reach out to eligible students, George initiated cooperation between PG&E's employee group and the Bay Area Network of Gay and Lesbian Educators. This collaboration became the foundation of the eQuality Scholarship given today. The PG&E George Kronenberger Memorial Scholarship honors a student who best exemplifies his activist spirit. This year's scholar is Beta Drews, who is graduating from Independence High School in Bakersfield. They'll be going to CSU Channel Islands to study English with an emphasis on creative writing. Beta restarted and was president of their school's GSA, now Pride Club, creating a safe space for students and organizing their booth at the local Pride event. They've also served on the Youth Council for the Center for Sexuality and Gender Diversity, helping plan a transgendered resource fair and hosting weekly game nights on Zoom. According to a 2010 eQuality scholar, Olivia Garrison, the Pride Club advisor, Beta is the kind of student that gives me hope for our future, both in the LGBTQIA+ community and the community at large. When confronted with challenges, Beta analyzes the challenges, develops a plan to strategically address those challenges, and then gathers the resources available to them to create something truly beautiful. They are the first to volunteer, the first to arrive, the last to leave, a natural leader, and a truly brilliant thinker. I cannot express how impactful Beta's hard work and dedication has had on the LGBTQIA+ community at Independence High School and Kern County as a whole. Congratulations, Beta.
Thank you, Jamie Martin, for the introduction. Before I begin my speech, I would also like to thank Olivia Garrison for being an amazing influence on my life. Not only introducing me to this scholarship, but providing so much help when I desperately needed it and providing encouragement. Coming from a very low-income background, being able to pay my tuition has always been a massive fear of mine. Receiving this scholarship will help bridge the gap between what I can and cannot pay and lifts a great amount of stress off of my shoulders. As an LGBT person, I've of course always had an invested interest in helping the community, and beyond that, I enjoy creating events and safe spaces for people who might need one. Knowing that I had a hand in making something that might help someone feel like they have somewhere and sometime they can be themselves is immensely satisfying and a definite motivator. In the future, I hope to not only continue to help build safe spaces for other LGBT people, but also cultivate my own safe space. I want to make a home and start writing and drawing in a place and time that I feel comfortable in and assured in the knowledge that it's stable. And I feel that scholarship-funded college education will help me on my way there. Thank you so much, everybody, and I hope that you have a good evening.
Wow, congratulations, Beta. That's fantastic. PG&E's Pride Network scholarships are primarily funded by the generous donations of employees through our company's community giving program. Our second scholar this year is Laurel Bowen, who is graduating from Pacific Grove High School and is going to study communications at Monterey Peninsula College. Laurel has served as secretary for her school's GSA club for 3 years, creating a bulletin board for the club with educational material and resources, which helped double the membership. She also created the LGBTQ+ and sexual education department for the Pacific Grove chapter of Diversify Our Narrative, educating district staff on the need for a more diverse and inclusive curriculum. According to Laurel's school counselor, she is an outstanding role model, showing tolerance and acceptance in the way she addresses, includes, and respects all in her groups. Congratulations, Laurel.
First off, I'd like to thank Andy Williams so much for introducing me and sponsoring me on this incredible scholarship. Over the past few years, I've worked on various community service projects. I've worked with local organizations for protests, marches, and rallies, with my local GSA club, sharing upcoming events for LGBTQIA youth and just around our community. But none of my projects has had a greater impact on me than the work I've been doing this past year with our local chapter of Diversify Our Narrative, or as we like to call it, DAWN. The main goal of DAWN was to diversify the curriculum in our school district and fight for racial justice. But after successfully implementing one piece of literature written by a POC author in every grade, we started working on ways to diversify our curriculum with every class, specifically working towards more equality and representation of the queer community and women. I was tired of seeing the blatant sexism, homophobia, and transphobia in my district, and I gladly took charge as the LGBTQ+ and sexual education head in our chapter. I was able to speak at the district and school board meetings, and our district lead worked directly with the county's head of education. We were able to see so much progress over the past year, and it brought me to tears knowing that there are so many teachers and parents and students supporting our ideas and actively wanting to help us strive for equality and accurate representation in our schools. Even though I know what I'm doing is important, receiving this scholarship has helped me realize that I have more support than I ever could have imagined. And this is honestly a bit emotional for me because, yes, this scholarship is helping me so much financially, but just being recognized for my dedication and progress for my projects as a queer student is so motivational, and it only makes me want to work harder and strive to be more successful. So thank you so much, PG&E Pride Network, for this award and this incredible opportunity to share my story.
The last 2021 PG&E Pride Network Scholar is Quinn Wynot, who is graduating from Clear Lake High in Lakeport and will be going to UCLA to major in environmental science. Quinn founded his school's GSA last fall and served as its president, no small feat in a small conservative town. He was determined to turn all the pain he experienced into healing for others, and has provided resources and support for the LGBT+ community at his school, despite the restrictions of the pandemic. According to the assistant principal, Quinn is well respected. By coming out about his own identity, he was a trailblazer for others who feel trapped in a small town mentality. All respect his passion for inclusion and acceptance. Congratulations, Quinn.
Thank you, Andy. I want to start by saying thank you to the eQuality team for choosing me as one of your scholarship recipients. I cannot express how grateful I am and how much your support means to me. I also want to say a big thank you to my amazing family. Thank you for allowing me to never be afraid to be who I am, and for your endless love and support. I feel so grateful that I've been able to extend my family's influence of acceptance and love into my school and community. It saddened me to see the amount of hate and homophobia that existed in my school before. Now, the newly formed GSA Club proudly advocates for a safer and more inclusive environment, leaving me to have hope for a more accepting path in my school's future. And although finding the GSA Club came with its own challenges, every second was worth it. I am so excited to return and see the growth and increasing influence of the GSA Club at my school. Thank you again. Your impact will remain with me for many years.
On behalf of the PG&E Pride Network, we want to say congratulations!
Congratulations! Hey, congratulations! Good job! Graduated! Congratulations!
The next group of scholarships are sponsored by Genentech. To present their scholars, we have one of Genentech G-Pride's executive sponsors, Carla Barano.
Thank you, Alexander. At Genentech, for more than 40 years, we've been delivering on the promise of biotechnology. We are dedicated to producing groundbreaking science to discover and develop medicines for people with serious diseases around the world. Genentech is also dedicated to advancing diversity, equality, and inclusion. We work hard to foster belonging for our employees, tackle racial disparities in clinical research, and forge partnerships to drive societal transformation. As proud and longtime supporters of the LGBT+ community and the eQuality Scholarship since 2002, we look forward to using our power to speak up, take action, advocate for equality and equity, and look for ways to expand our impact. Supporting these inspiring scholars who are emerging as the next generation of leaders is our way of honoring them for all of the amazing contributions they have accomplished for the LGBT+ community. Genentech sponsored 2 scholarships for high school graduates this year. Genentech's second high school scholar is Max Leonard, who is graduating from San Marin High in Novato. They'll be going to Brandeis in Massachusetts to study neuroscience. Max also restarted the GSA Club at their school and has served as its president since. In addition to leading their own club and educating faculty on LGBT+ issues, Max has planned events with GSAs at other local schools. According to the club's advisor, I see Max as being a community leader who is incredibly gifted in outreach, building consensus, and developing curriculum in a social justice framework. Max has been dedicated to community outreach, not only in Novato, but in Marin County and even the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Congratulations, Max.
I'm really honored to receive this scholarship. It does mean a lot to me because I'm queer myself and I didn't really have any other queer role models growing up. I didn't know any other queer people like me, and I didn't realize until very late in my life that I was queer. So I helped restart my school's GSA and helped establish what we stand for. And we've been working hard to build a strong base so that we will hopefully be able to have a good legacy going forward, and that we'll be able to support other kids like in the future down the line. And so hopefully that they can receive the support that I didn't have growing up. Because of that lack of visibility, I grew up and I was homophobic for a while. Fortunately, after my friend group came out, and it really does help. It makes all the difference to have that supportive environment around you to help you realize who you are and feel more comfortable telling others. And that's a really important thing to me. And so this is why I stepped forward and decided to create the GSA at my school, to create a safe space for kids like me who are questioning themselves, who are curious, who didn't know, who didn't have answers yet, or kids who just wanted a community and they wanted a place to feel where they could be themselves. I wanted to create that space. Currently, my GSA is tackling the hard task and the hard but definitely worth it task of trying to start a pride parade in my hometown where there is none. And although we are near San Francisco, we are not as nearby, and San Francisco Pride isn't always accessible. So our goal is to create a pride in my hometown that would be accessible to a larger audience.
Genentech is also awarding 2 medical scholarships this year. The first goes to Jay Bindman, who has a BA in biology from Johns Hopkins and is finishing their 2nd year at UC San Francisco. Jay founded the LGBTQ committee to improve transgender patient inclusion in the UCSF curriculum, creating a new module for 2nd-year students on providing gender-affirming care. They've collaborated with administration to make the school more inclusive, including creating gender-neutral restrooms and a gender recognition and lived names policy. 100 of their classmates signed a statement saying, "We have seen how Jay's advocacy at UCSF has enhanced our learning and made the campus more inclusive." According to the Associate Dean of Students, ultimately, Jay's work will result in much improved care of the LGBT community everywhere our graduates care for people. Congratulations, Jay.
Thank you, Carla, for the introduction. The eQuality Scholarship has had a huge impact on me, validating that the advocacy I do on campus is as valuable as the rigorous training I go through every day as a medical student. What motivates me to advocate and demand equality for transgender patients in medicine is my own healthcare experiences and connection to the transgender community. I am a trans and non-binary patient with chronic illnesses, and I have struggled to access gender-affirming care for much of my life, and I know the same is true for so much of my community. Advocating is how I cope and find community through the daunting challenges of daily life as a gender minority with chronic health conditions. My intersecting identities have made me a powerful advocate, and every day I am radically shifting the practice of medicine and medical education by loudly elevating the needs of my communities and demanding room be made. My plans for the future are to continue learning as much as I can about the diverse healthcare needs of the transgender community, particularly Black and Brown transgender people who are further marginalized and left out of healthcare, and to teach other providers how to meet these gaps in quality healthcare. I am so grateful to the eQuality Scholarship for valuing my work and the work of other student advocates, and I hope that our collective impact will shape the future of medicine and academia to be more inclusive of transgender patients and students. Thank you.
Genentech's 2nd medical scholar is JT Nguyen. JT earned a BA in public health at UC Berkeley and will be heading to UC Davis's med school. They co-founded the Transgender Health Collective at the Berkeley Free Clinic to provide comprehensive transgender health services, support groups, and social gatherings. JT has worked as a clinical research coordinator at UCSF on the largest NIH-funded study of transgender youth in the US, as well as conducting a study of the major health concerns of transgender youth experiencing homelessness. While working at the Vietnamese, now Southeast Asian, Youth Development Center in San Francisco, JT implemented staff training on gender and sexuality. According to their recommendation, shortly after the training, staff began using more inclusive language. Furthermore, the center's office slowly began to look more vibrant, and inviting to LGBTQ plus community members. Congratulations, JT.
Hi, thank you so much, Carla, for the introduction. My name is JT. My pronouns are they, them. And winning this scholarship has meant so much to me because it has alleviated a lot of concern that I've had in regards to embarking on this next journey in my life in medical school, which, as I'm sure everyone knows, is a huge cost. It's very costly. So I hope that this scholarship can help me take a step into achieving my dreams. And I would love to become a family physician as I go through my journey in medical school to work with non-traditional families and queer and transgender young people. As someone who didn't get a lot of support or mentorship from other physicians of color or other trans people in my life growing up, I hope to be not only a physician to these communities and my peers, but also provide mentorship for all the young people that I may see in my practice. And so winning the scholarship has allowed me to focus on my education and academics rather than on my financial burdens and concerns. And I have been inspired to work in this field because, as I mentioned, I haven't had a lot of mentorship and a lot of direction growing up. And along my gender journey, I've had a lot of harassment and a lot of challenges achieving the person that I am today and accessing gender affirming health services. So I hope that in the future, I'm able to provide that access to many more people.
All of us on the G-Pride leadership team at Genentech want to congratulate the 2021 Equality Scholars for their amazing accomplishments and contributions to the LGBT plus community. You all are making a difference by inspiring those around you and changing the world into a more diverse and safe space for everyone. Keep up the great work. Woo!
The final 2021 Equality Scholarship goes to Teresa Asukwo, who has a BA in Human Biology from Stanford and just completed her third year at UC San Diego School of Medicine. As a board member of the LGBT plus student organization there, Teresa helped create opportunities for students to learn about health disparities affecting the LGBT plus community and how to combat them. She also helped coordinate events for Transgender Week of Visibility and served as a recruitment coordinator to increase the number of LGBT plus medical students. Teresa was chosen by her peers to be the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion on the Student Council, helping to plan Diversity Month, including National Coming Out Day. She formed a student coalition to research why underrepresented in medicine students chose not to apply or attend, then advocated for solutions, including educating students on the social and structural influences of health. According to the Health Equity Program Coordinator, Teresa is deeply committed to both the Black and LGBT community, and she takes an intersectional approach in advocating for both communities. Congratulations, Teresa.
Thank you, Alexander. And thank you so much to everyone involved with the Equality Scholarship. Becoming a medical doctor has been my dream since I was little, and now that I am almost done with my third year of medical school, I am even more excited about my future as a medical professional. This scholarship will go a long way to funding my final years at UCSD and allow me to focus on my medical interests. During my time at UCSD School of Medicine, I have been heavily involved with Student Council, Free Clinic, Prime Health Equity, and diversity organizations, including the student group LGBTQ FAM, which have all allowed me to explore my passion and create interventions for increasing healthcare access in vulnerable populations, particularly the LGBTQ plus population. As a Black bisexual woman, the intersectionality of all my identities and my personal experiences in the healthcare system have inspired my work in medical school towards decreasing health disparities for disadvantaged populations. Getting patients the care that they deserve has always been my motivation for becoming a medical doctor because it's the right thing to do. In this upcoming summer, I will be taking a year off to pursue a Master of Public Health degree at Johns Hopkins University, where I'll be focusing on health equity and social justice. I believe enhancing my medical school education with a specialized focus on health equity and the opportunity to obtain a master's of public health degree will provide me the best opportunity to work towards reducing health disparities among oppressed communities through a comprehensive and multidisciplinary approach. Afterwards, I plan to return to UCSD to complete my 4th and final year of medical school. I look forward to working within underserved communities as a future primary care physician through a focus on public health and preventative care. Thank you again for everything.
Congratulations to all the 2021 eQuality Scholars. Aren't they just an amazing and impressive group of students? Feel inspired? Here's another short video.
Interacting with scholars just makes me feel really inspired, actually. In my daily work, I don't interact with a lot of young people, so this is just one more benefit. I would encourage someone to join volunteer because you have direct interaction with young people and you can really make a difference in their lives by supporting their future education and learning.
When I read some of these applications, it just kind of amazes me because when I reflect back in my youth, I did not do anything as equivalent to some of these folks out there.
I started to review scholarship applications every year, start helping the committee with the scholarship dinner, and I just wanted to get involved and give back in the same way that the scholarship gave back to me.
If you're a young person, I would say apply because you might have a good chance of receiving the money, and I think that we need all the support we can get nowadays, so just try it, go for it.
The chances of you not getting the scholarship is 100% if you don't apply. And even if you don't think you're qualified, I feel like a lot of times as students we're hard on ourselves and we think that, oh, we're not good enough, but in actuality we are more than qualified. It's a very simple process. eQuality makes it that way. Just apply, you're not going to lose anything.
On the eQuality website, you can sign up for the mailing list or make a donation. The link to the 2022 application will be available on the website between November and January. Also, please like the eQuality Facebook page to help spread the word. eQuality is a volunteer-run organization, and we thank everyone who volunteered over the past year on the scholarship committee, reviewed applications, interviewed finalists, and helped put on this virtual celebration. It takes a lot of people to pull this all together. Special thanks to Eric Shu, our chair, who keeps everything running and on schedule. And thank you, viewers, for joining us. We hope you'll be able to join us in person next year. Happy Harvey Milk Day and happy Pride. Take care and good night.